do some edit practices of our food still life project, and you're going to do 3 in total. And so what we're going to do is go into our digital photo file in your drive. So here is your drive. You should have access to your Google Drive right here in your files. Here's Google Drive. You're going to click on that. You're going to go to My Drive, and then you're going to look for digital photo. And then you're going to look for your Balance and Food Still Life file, and then you're going to select your images to be edited. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one here, 3616. All right, so this was from our demo that we did the other day. And when I look at this image, I see a little bit of some paper texture here that maybe I want to retouch a little bit. When I come down here, I see like a little black speck right there. I see a little bit of reflection in the glass that I might want to get rid of. I might want to zoom in on the spoon a little bit, maybe clean that up a little bit with my cloning tool. I might want to even pop the color on this a little bit and maybe even add a vignette at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to call it hue saturation. You could just put hue sat. And on this particular editing demo, I'm going to just duplicate the layer and adjust this new layer that's called hue sat. So I'm going to come over here to image adjustments, and I'm going to go to hue saturation, and I'm going to just move this over a little bit, and I'm going to give this more of a warmer tone, and I'm going to saturate the colors a little bit. So I'm giving it more of a warm tone and saturating the colors. And so here is what it looks like before. It was a little more blue in tone, and now it's a little more yellow and warmer in tone. So if I back out, we can look at that. Before and after. Nice. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is duplicate that layer, and maybe I'm going to just possibly adjust the contrast and the light on the exposure. Okay, I'm at home right now as I'm editing, so we can hear my dogs in the background. So I'm going to go to image. All right, you guys, let's stop barking, please. Image adjustment. We're going to come over here to brightness and contrast. And I think I might want to bring the brightness up just a tad bit and add a little bit of contrast. Okay, and so now we can see the before and after. And now I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to do a burn and dodge layer. I'm going to say okay. And what I want to do is I want to go in with my burning tool here, and we're going to select midtones, exposure of 50%. And we're going to make my brush a little bigger. We want a nice soft round brush, and we want to make it a little bigger. I think about 400 might be good. Now, if you want to control your brush size, you can click your bracket key on your keyboard, and that will make it smaller or larger. And I want to burn the flowers here a little more and just make those stand out. So there we go. There's before, there's after. And now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer here, and I'm going to make sure I have my navigator open. Okay, so this little check mark next to my navigator. And what this does is lets me move around the image to kind of check it out. And I'm going to come down here, and I think I might just leave it at that for, I go Control minus and zoom out, or I can just do this to zoom out as well. Just slide this back and forth. think I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna burn this little area here a little more, and you're gonna be following these steps along with me. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate that layer, and we're gonna call it the cloning layer here. And there's a few things that I wanna clone, but I do wanna get closer. So I'm gonna move this over, and I'm just gonna start at the right-hand side of the image, and I'm just gonna check my image. Looks good there. I'm gonna move over to the left side. That looks good. I'm gonna come down to like the middle, and I think I want to clone some of the reflections in the glass here. I don't really want those reflections. So I'm gonna come over here and click the Alt, select the area I want to clone. We see the little plus sign. The little plus sign means that that's what's being cloned. So I select my Alt, my target selects the area, and then I see the little plus sign. And a little bit of reflection here along the edge is okay, but I am going to kind of even it out a little bit. And now I'm going to zoom back, and we're going to turn off the clone, and we can see the difference there, how much nicer that looks. And I'm going to zoom in again. This time I'm going to clone this little dot here, this little speck of whatever it was, I don't know. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to clone the edge of this tea bag here and get rid of that mark on the tea bag. And I'm going to clone a little bit of these like dark specks on the spoon and just kind of clean up that spoon a little bit. There's not too many, but there's a little bit of areas I just kind of want to clean up just a tad bit here. And then if we turn it on and off, we can see what we've done. Great. And then I bring it over here to the left side and see if there's anything over here that I want to clone. Everything looks pretty clean except for maybe the edge of this box here. I kind of want to get rid of those white specks in there and have it be nice and black in the box area right here. Okay, so I'm going to come down. I'm going to go over. I'm going to clone some of this tea bag. Looks like it needs to be cleaned up just a smidge here. Not too much, but a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom out, and we're going to look at that as a whole. Control minus, or you can zoom out on the navigator all the way out. And let's turn off the clone. Oh yeah, looks good. Now the final thing I want to do here is I just want to add a vignette. Now this is a new tool here. We're going to go over here to this kind of half circle that's white and black, and we're going to go to solid color. And the color that I want to add is kind of like a nice warm yellow. Okay. And I'm going to adjust this opacity really low. And I'm going to click on the yellow here, and I'm going to go in with my little eyedropper, and I'm going to select the yellow from our stash, or maybe the edge of the stash. I like the edge better. And then I'm going to bring our opacity up to about 50%. And I'm going to select this layer mask right here and go in with my brush tool. And I'm going to make sure that I have a soft round brush. And I'm going to make sure that I have this black over white because I want to activate my layer mask here. This is called the layer mask. Black over white. And I want to make my brush really large. So I'm going to use the bracket key to enlarge my brush so that it's about almost all the way to the edge here. And then I'm going to start clicking. And what's happening now is we see a nice circle shape in our color fill. And that's creating what's called a vignette. I'm just leaving a nice warm yellow around the edges here. Now we could, if we want, bring up the opacity and see how that looks. I'm thinking, you know, I want to see my spoon a little bit, but I want this warm yellow on the edges. So I don't want it at 100% opacity because that could be a little bit too intense. So maybe this like 50 to 65% might work really nice. And then you're going to come over here and you're going to go to File, Save As. You want to save on your, you want to save to your cloud documents on your computer, which is going to be right here in your Google Drive, My Drive. Come over here to Digital Photo and go to your balance, and then you're going to click on Save. And yes, you're gonna save it. You may have saved it more than once, and so you might be replacing what you've saved. But make sure you save it because it's not going to automatically do that for you. Okay, and now you are done.